And we're live.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening of the European Space Education Research Office in Estonia. My name is Joseph Kivastik, and I'll be your guide for the hour. Today, we'll hear various experts from Tartu Observatory, different ministries in Estonia, and from the European Space Agency to show us why science, technology, engineering, and maths education is truly important to all of us. Furthermore, will be shown how in Estonia, the novel ways which we can promote STEM education to the youth through and thanks to ESERO. This is also important to me because I'm an engineer at Tartu Observatory's Space Technology Department, working on an ESA project to build a nanosatellite, Theia. And we are always looking for more young and bright individuals to join our team. Now, during the presentation, it is also possible for you to ask questions. You can do this at the Q&A section on the workshop page. Please do this so we can relay the questions or comments to the speaker and we can get a better picture of the situation. Now, without further ado, it's my pleasure to welcome my boss's boss, the director of Tartu Observatory, Antti Tamm, to kick off the event.
Hello, everybody. As the director of Tartu Observatory, I have the honor and opportunity to start this opening event of ESERO Estonia. I'm happy to greet and thank all the speakers of today, and also everyone who is following us behind the screens. Normally, this opening would be a lively gathering of teachers, scientists, science popularizers, officials from ministries and agencies, with cakes and coffee and a festive mood. Today, however, we have to do this event as a virtual meeting. The world is in the middle of a pandemic. The situation in Estonia is one of the worst in Europe and getting worse still. Most of the school children have to study at home, alongside with their parents, who are also mostly working from home. But this is not the only crisis that we currently have. The world is also facing a climate crisis. Scientists are warning for a crisis of soil, a crisis of water bodies. The extinction of different species of plants, insects, birds, and animals is accelerating. All these problems can be solved, and I am sure they will be solved. They will be solved with the help of science, because humans can discover and learn. But global problems cannot be solved just by one person, one scientist, not even by one country or using the knowledge within one scientific field. To solve global problems, we need knowledge which has been gathered globally. ESERO puts together the best practices in Europe to help teachers to bring such knowledge to school children and to do it in an attractive way using the fascination of space, the fascination of cosmos. Because cosmos, while being visually attractive, is also very exciting, inspiring us to reach farther, to discover, to learn, and to look back at the Earth from a different perspective. A perspective from which our planet looks a very precious, but also a very vulnerable place, which we need to take better care of. Tartu Observatory is a very suitable place for ESERO Estonia. Firstly, Tartu Observatory is a research institution with a track record of 200 years of science excellence. But also education and science popularization have always been considered important here for the sake of the development of science and the whole society. By joining the ESERO family, we reaffirm the importance of supporting teachers and educating students to nourish their interest in the subjects of science and technology, to enhance their competencies and skills, and to stimulate them to pursue a career in the related fields, including space. Each year, thousands of school children find their way to the observatory to learn about astronomy, remote sensing, and space technology, or just have a look through the largest telescope in Northern Europe. Our scientists visit schools on a regular basis to tell about the universe, about research, about our planet. We write popular articles, tour around the country with exhibitions. We even have a band of scientists presenting cosmic songs. From today on, being part of the ESERO family, we can do it all in a more systematic way, using the competencies and experiences from other European nations. In return, we can offer our own competencies and experiences. I want to thank ESA for offering this opportunity to Estonia. I also wish to thank our partners, the Science Center AHA and the Energy Discovery Center, for enthusiastically joining us in this mission. I want to thank Heli for an enormous effort and bringing the ESERO office here. And finally, I wish to thank all the teachers out there, because you, the teachers, are doing the real work on the front line. Thank you all, and good luck.
Thank you, Antti Tamm, and thank you, Tartu Observatory, for helping popularizing space science in Estonia. Next up, we have Madis Võõras, the head of this. Now we'll show you a video.
€150 miljoni eest lepinguid teenis Eesti ettevõtte Skeleton Technologies. Kui tuua vaid üks näide paljudest meie ettevõtetest, kes on saanud kasu koostööst Euroopa Kosmoseagentuuriga. Eesti majandus on sellest võitnud juba 13 aasta jooksul, aga vaatame lähemalt, kuidas kõik algas. Esimese koostöölepingu Euroopa Kosmoseagentuuriga sõlmis Eesti 2007. aastal. Juba 2 aasta pärast sõlmiti Eesti Vabariigi ja Euroopa Kosmoseagentuuri vaheline Euroopa koostööriigi kokkulepe. 2010. aastal alla kirjutatud PEXi hartaga algas 5-aastane prooviperiood, mis testis Eesti kosmosealast võimekust. Prooviperioodil sõlmiti teadusmahukate toodete ja teenuste arendamiseks Eesti ettevõtete, teadusasutuste ja Euroopa Kosmoseagentuuri vahel esimesed 27 lepingut. Ja sealt ta tuleb 2013. aastal orbiidile jõudnud Eesti esimene tudengisatelliit EstCube-1. Satelliidi teadusmissiooniks oli elektrilise päikesepurje katsetamine, maakera pildistamine ning haridusmissiooniks Eesti järgmise põlvkonna kõrgtehnoloogia inseneride koolitamine. Edukas prooviperiood selja taga sai Eesti 2015. aastal ESA täisliikmeks. Eesti ettevõtted paistavad Euroopa Kosmoseagentuuris silma just kompetentsiga küberturvalisuse ja tehisintellekti valdkonnas. 2017. aastal sündis Eesti ja ESA IKT-alase koostöö edendamise protokoll, mille digiallkirjastas ESA poolt värskelt Eesti e-residendiks saanud ESA peadirektor. See lepe hõlmas ka Eesti edulugusid, e-riiki, ID-kaarti ja digiallkirja platvormi ja muud. Samal aastal avati Eestis ka Baltikumi esimene ESA äriinkubaator. Praeguseks on sellest väljunud 6 ja inkubatsiooniprogrammis jätkavad veel 9 ettevõtet. Neist näiteks praeguseks oma eksperimendiga kosmose vallutanud Kolbriak Space on nii InnoSpace Masters 2018 kui Copernicus Masters võitja. Uus tähis koostöös saabus aastal 2018. Rahvusvahelisse kosmosejaama saabus Eesti esimene unikaalne seade Myoton Pro, mis on praegu edukalt kasutusel nii spordis kui meditsiinis. Samal aastal saadeti ESEO satelliidipardal orbiidile 2 Eestis arendatud kaamerat. Need olid Eesti esimesed instrumendid ESA missioonil. Aastal 2019 avati ka riiklik satelliidiandmete keskus EstHub. Aastal 2020 valiti Eesti seade esmakordselt ajaloos ESA teadusprojekti. selleks oli Tartu Ülikoolis arendatud komeetide pildistamise võimekusega optiline teleskoop OPIK. 2020. aasta 1. septembril saatsid Eesti Kosmoseagentuuriga liitumise aastapäeva puhul ESA videotervitused nii peadirektor Jan Wörner.
Congratulations to Estonia. Congratulations to Estonia for being 5 years a member state of the European Space Agency.
Kui astronaut Frank de Vinni.
I wish a happy 5th anniversary to Estonia while eagerly looking forward to the future.
ESA täisliikmeks olemise 5. aastapäeval on selge, et Eesti kosmosekoostööl on suur potentsiaal nii ettevõtete kui riigi jaoks tervikuna. Võime unistada suurelt, miks mitte ka Eesti oma astronaudist ehk estronaudist. Eesti Kosmosebüroo, Estonian Space Office.
So the career of the astronaut is long and very interesting.
We just saw a video of what Estonia's managed to do in its 5 years in ESA. Next up, we'll have Madis Võõras, the head of Estonia Space Bureau, to show what a small country like Estonia can do in the space sector and why STEM education is important to all of it.
Hello, everyone. I hope that you can hear me. My presentation has a very ambitious title, The Importance of the STEM Education for Society and Space Sector. And to make a first and very fast conclusion, you can't be astronaut without having a STEM education. On this picture is Samantha Cristoforetti. He was in space exactly at the time we, Estonia, acceded European Space Agency, and Samantha made a small Estonian flag and put a tweet in Twitter. But yesterday we learned that Samantha will return to space in 2022. That means that the career of the astronaut is very interesting and long. But everyone can't be an astronaut. Thanks to Estonian membership in ESA, we had a chance to send Estonians to work in ESA. And I need to say that we have not sent them literally. They have all applied, got the places, and since 2009 we had 18 Estonian trainees in ESA, 2 of them currently working on ESA, and professionals working in ESA. We have 4 contractors and 2 of staff. So the work in ESA is very interesting. And if you can't be an astronaut, you can be a staff member of ESA, which is almost the same. On that picture, you can see some Estonian trainees and workers in 2018. And on that picture, you can see another set of Estonians in ESA a year later. But on the picture is in the middle one lady who is now working in ESA and applying for astronaut. As you know, ESA opened an astronaut corps recently, and Gertrud Talvik is dedicated to be an astronaut, and of course, in that case, a first Estonian astronaut. And I think he can serve as a best example how to strive his dream. He has a master's degree in biomedicine from Cape Town University. She has worked in ESA almost for 3 years, and she is the staff member. And right first news was that she made a pilot license. So I think this style can serve as the best example why you have to learn subjects related to space, to STEM, because this opens an opportunity to the career. Of course, not everyone can be an astronaut, but the world is open. And just to finish the talk about an astronaut, there is a very good and well-composed book by Tim Peake, European astronaut from United Kingdom. And in this book, it's on the sale in every book magazine. You can got your experience, made a test, and see, are you capable? But to finish this presentation, I'd like to show you a picture of me, because in 2017, I brought to my secondary school in a small church village in Estonia, Väike-Maarja, an antenna which is capable to take pictures from the satellites. And thanks to good cooperation with Tartu Observatory, it really was put on the roof and it started to work. But what was the problem? The problem was that there was no enthusiastic teachers enough, and I hope that this ESERO program will improve the situation, and we could have in every school a satellite station or something like this. It's not too complicated, but it's quite a simple tool to promote the subject. And finally, I'd like to show you the building of Estonian Space Office, but of course this was wrong. This is not the Estonian Space Office building. We have only one room in this building, and our team, which consists two of staff of us and other three are contractors, we are intermediary between the European Space Agency and Estonia, so everything what's concerned our relations, it has to be dealt with us, and we are happy to serve you by complementing the ESERO program as well. So thank you for my side, and good success with ESERO in Estonia.
Thank you, Madis, for showing us what a small country like Estonia is striving to do in the space sector. Next up, we have Chiara Manfletti, the head of the European Space Agency's Policy and Program Coordination Department, who will show why STEM education is also important to ESA.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you can see my slides and I hope you can hear me fine. It's a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you very much, Madis, for introducing ESA to the wider public listening to us today. Indeed, ESA is one of our member states that we're very proud of, bringing so much benefit to ESA. As you know, ESA is an international, intergovernmental organization with 22 member states. And as I said, we're very proud and happy to have Estonia with us. At ESA, we do lots of space activities, and we do this mostly in order to tackle global challenges, of which we have many facing our society and our economies today. And we believe that we can only do this if we do it working together in a global manner, and if we do this in an interdisciplinary manner. We are convinced that in order to tackle global challenges, we have to first become aware, so discover what these global challenges are and understand what the various aspects of them are. We then need to monitor the various elements. If we take, for example, climate change, we need to raise awareness and we need to mitigate. We're talking today about education, and of course, without education, none of this would be possible. So education is really at the basis of everything we do, and this cannot be stressed enough. As I was saying, at ESA, we have three main addressees. We address society at large. We really want to bring benefit to society with everything we do, not just things we do in Earth observation, which are perhaps the most obvious, but even when we do extreme science and look into gravitational waves, or when we do exploration and send humans into low Earth orbit and someday to Moon and Mars. We address economy. We want economy to be sustainable, resilient, and we want our space sector and economy at large to be worldwide leaders and competitive. And of course, we want to address the environment, and not just the environment on Earth, but we also want to address the environment in space. We do this through 4 programmatic pillars, as I was mentioning, which you see here: science and exploration, safety and security, applications, enabling and support. Just a very quick run through. In science and exploration, I already mentioned, we look into the secrets of our solar system and of the universe. This is absolutely fascinating. We look into gravitational waves, we look into dark matter, and other elements further out, for example, into our solar system. We don't know very much about the outer planets, and we want to send probes and satellites to look into these planets. In exploration, we have 3 main destinations, which are low Earth orbit, the Moon, and Mars. It's not just about human exploration, but it certainly is about human exploration, but it's also about robotic exploration. And we see synergies between the 2 elements. So it's not human versus robotic, it's human and robotic. And we certainly look also to the commercialization and trying to provide platforms in space for other sectors to do their research. We did some COVID-related research, for example, on the ISS, just at the end of last year. In safety and security, it's about addressing hazards and threats in space, but also from space. So we look at things like space weather, asteroids, and debris to provide protection to us also here on Earth. But it's also about taking assets which we have in space to look at those threats and challenges we have on Earth. So we look at things like major disasters. We look at maritime safety and security, but there's many more topics. We want to provide safe and secure communications across Europe for public and private sector uses. In applications, we have Earth observation, navigation, and telecommunications. Here we mostly collaborate with industry for cutting edge satellites to provide applications in the short term. And of course, in Earth observation, it's not just about the commercial aspects. It certainly is about our planet system, about understanding it and tackling, as I said, things like climate change, but certainly, and it's not mentioned enough, biodiversity, which has gone down a lot and which is also a topic of concern. In enabling and support, we develop launchers for Europe, Ariane and Vega, but it's also about returning from space. So we have things like Space Rider. We develop technologies for across the board, and we operate satellites, both our own and those of our partners. And last but not least, we have a little line at the bottom, which is multicolored. It's called multi-directorate activities or multi-domain activities. As space evolves, it's increasingly difficult to segregate elements in one or the other. So we're really pushing forward for new elements which touch on various domains that we see here. Education, as I said, is at the core of what we do. It's housed in what we call the mandatory activities, where we both have the scientific program, which is part of this backbone of ESA, but we deal also with basic activities, as we call them, and there we tackle innovation, common infrastructure, and knowledge. And as I said, education is part of this. ESA takes on different roles. Just a quick run through. We are an R&D entity. We are a partner of industry. We are a customer. We see ourselves as an enabler, and we can be a broker. And it's exactly in this function of enabler that education plays an extremely strong role to enable further elements. I like to take this picture a lot when I talk to delegations at ESA in our council meetings. When I talk about the basic activities and of education, I think it's very descriptive of the importance of education in everything we do. We are very keen on enabling innovation from the basic research to the market applications. We really push through this across the entire element. So we look at basic research. We push these basic research into technology development to be applied in our missions to then result in market applications. And we, of course, know that as we progress across this chain of innovation, we move from public to sector private sector funds. However, we go even a step further and we talk about a grid of innovation, meaning bringing different, again, dimensions together. So things like virtual reality together with medicine. We've seen the different programmatic pillars. So we're very keen on bringing all of this together. And for that, we have various instruments as well. One of them is the ESA Lab, which I'll talk about in just a second, and business incubation centers, which enable this innovation to take place, and also on a quick time pace. The ESA Lab is one element that we have where we try and bring academia together with us and with other entities, and it's not a funding mechanism, but it allows universities and the academic world to become more interlinked with space and across different disciplines. And what you see here are all the ESA labs that we've founded with universities across Europe on different topics. So we have things like space economy. We have artificial intelligence as a focus for some of them. We have materials in space. So again, it's multidisciplinary, and at the fundament of all of this remains the hunger for knowledge. And without education, again, none of this would be possible. As we were hearing at the beginning, of course, inspiring the younger generations. And I have to say, when we inspire the younger ones, we tend to also inspire ourselves. So that's also good. Inspiring the young and the older ones is certainly important. So we are keen on fascinating, inspiring, and motivating the world around us. So without further ado, I do look forward to the rest of the elements and hearing more about education at ESA and how we can do this together with Estonia. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chiara, for showing us way. STEM education is also important in ESA, and the wonderful things we can do with it, and the wonderful things ESA does with STEM education. Now that we've heard on different levels why STEM education is important, we also must understand how to actually popularize this kind of education in the youth. For that, next up is Terje Tuisk, the head of development at the Estonian Science Agency, who will talk about why it is important to use novel approaches to popularize science.
Good morning. Not from Science Agency, but from Estonian Academy of Sciences. And I'm very happy to be here for different reasons. First, the ESERO educational programs have been coming to Estonia already for many years, and I'm really happy that we are here at the launch of the program right now, because we have been waiting for this for quite a long time. And for second, I'm really happy that we can talk about something else than the current situation in the society, the health situation, that there are other aspects that need to be discussed, that need to be introduced. So I will talk a little about the situation in STEM education in Estonia and about the place I see for ESERO in the system. As I'm not from the ministry, I cannot say what ministry's plans are for STEM education, but I can say what I know from my background. First, the situation with STEM education in Estonia is quite good. All students in the general education system study science from year 1 till they finish the school at year 12. So they cannot avoid STEM, as in many countries they do. And the national curriculum very much supports all kinds of STEM initiatives. Are they coming from inside the school or outside the school? Teachers are quite free to use all the initiatives within their curriculum to choose methods, study locations, whatever. Also, research or creative projects are compulsory part of the curriculum, and many of those are done in STEM fields. And when ESA is coming closer to Estonia and ESERO programs start, I'm sure that many students will start doing their projects in the field of space. Our students are in top of PISA tests in math and science. We have wonderful STEM teachers, and quite a lot of high school graduates continue in the university on STEM fields. Okay. But there is another side of this story that looks quite good if you look at it from one side. The other side is that also PISA tests show that many students do not understand why they need STEM and do not relate themselves to it and do not have enough information on what they can do within STEM as a career in the future. And also at school, the STEM subjects are not integrated enough. We teach separate subjects, and if we look at the space field, there are no separate subjects wherever in STEM. There is no math and physics, things are interconnected. So this is something we need to work on. And also STEM at school is not enough connected to life. People do not understand how these things they learn are connected with their everyday life. And although we have marvelous teachers, there is huge lack of STEM teachers at school. There are schools where they just do not have a physics teacher, for example, because there is lack of teachers. And although many students go on to universities to study several different STEM fields, there is big dropout rate, especially in ICT, because students are not prepared to what they are going to learn in university. And when they get there, they find out that this is not for them. And there are other fields where entrants are dropping dramatically, for example, in engineering, that is essential for space, obviously. So there is room to work with. And of course, on our labor market, as well as everywhere else in the world, STEM professionals are very much looked for and not found as many as needed. So I think that teachers at school are doing all they can, really, within the STEM education frame that is given to them. And we've had studies that show that the variety of activities that support STEM education at school from outside is quite high. And most students have some kind of opportunity to get involved in something. But on the other side, most of these activities are project-based and temporary, so they cannot be connected with a curriculum, and teachers cannot count that every year I can do something like this in my 5th grade. So this is something we need to work on. So we need to help STEM education from the outside, and the cooperation should be regular, content and inquiry-based. It should support curriculum so that teachers can link their everyday activities with the things that are proposed from outside and integrate. And more than one institution from outside general education system has to be involved in this cooperation. And now I will bring one example of a program that is already running in Estonia. those who are listening us and are from Estonia, they probably know it. Unfortunately, the time is too short to go very deep into the program. So those who are not from Estonia have to find most of it out afterwards. But just one example and maybe some gaps that can be filled by ESERO within these kind of things. And the example is Rocket 69. Rocket 69 is the core of it is a TV show that is at the moment in our national television running for 11th season. Every year it has 15 young participants, age 15 to 21. And through 15 episodes, they solve STEM assignments in teams, integrated team assignments connected to STEM. And on the side, competing for prize money of 10,000 euros and places in Estonian universities. These assignments are quite exactly the assignments that should be used at school to integrate different STEM subjects. First, they demand theoretical knowledge to solve it, and creativity. They need ability to use this knowledge in practice. There is integration of different fields involved in each assignment and the connection with our everyday life. So it's everything we need, really. Also, all these assignments are supported by online videos where science editor of the show after each episode is explaining how to solve these assignments. And the impact we have for the 10 seasons that already have are done. First, in each episode, there are 3 assignments. So altogether for 10 years, we have 450 creative STEM assignments that can be used at schools. They are also connected with curriculum. So teachers can actually take directly and use them at school to support their curriculum studies. Former Rocket 69 participants and winners really act as STEM ambassadors, first in their schools, then in the area and in general in Estonia. The format that is used at the TV show has become a teaching method at school. Teachers use it a lot and students like it. And also the very young audience, even preschoolers, use Rocket 69 as, for example, for their birthdays. So it's becoming quite popular over the years, and right now actually it was supposed to open this week in Tallinn. They are opening Rocket 69 studios where all the people who are interested in Rocket 69 assignments can go and try to solve them. So it's becoming out, going out from the TV show that was supposed to be the core of the events, of the activities, and it's becoming much, much bigger than it was supposed to be in the beginning. So there are things that are missing from this scheme. For example, nobody is working with teachers. Teachers are not trained, the materials are just there, and teachers can use them if they choose to, but no one is teaching them to do it. So teacher training is definitely missing. And also the links with curriculum are not systematic. So to use them, teachers have to work more than necessary to make them fit to their curriculum. I think the systematic curriculum connected materials are those that teachers could make much more use of in their everyday work. So there are gaps in the system we have right now where ESERO really can come and help. And that's all I really wanted to say today. I do not know what ministry is planning. I hope that they will be very supportive towards ESERO education programs. And I wish everyone at school really great time and strength in turning into normality from the situation we are right now, to start worrying about regular things like why students don't like STEM, instead of worrying about things that we need to worry right now. Thank you.
For showing us how Estonia is doing generally well in education, but there are always gaps that need to be filled, and it seems especially it needs to be done in STEM education. Rocket 69 is a great project, and even many of my friends have taken part of it, and even some of them have won it. So it's a cool thing to have in Estonia. But as we saw, there are more gaps to fill, and ESERO can fill some of them. To talk more about ESERO, we will have Hugo More, the head of the European Space Agency's Education Office, to show the novel approaches ESERO uses all across Europe. Thank you. Sound is off. Can you turn on your microphone?
Do you hear me now? Do you hear me? Okay, let's try. Good morning, everyone. It is also my great pleasure this morning to attend the first ever virtual launch of an ESERO office. With my presentation, I would like to situate the ESERO project within ESA's education program that was briefly touched by Dr. Manfletti earlier today, but also to emphasize the critical role the ESERO project plays within this program. There is I cannot but also agree, as we understood, that continuous investments in education, and in particular in STEM education, are essential to develop the workforce that our society needs to address, as we heard earlier today, the global challenges, but also to remain competitive and innovative. The ESA education program is designed to inspire and actively engage young people into activities that enhance their literacy and competence in STEM disciplines. And this, I will illustrate it a bit later, by using space as a learning context. This is also to encourage and enable the young people to pursue studies, as I heard earlier today, studies and career in the STEM sector. But it is also a program that is equipping or contributes to equip the future workforce with what the so-called 21st century skills to enhance young people's future employability and to stimulate creativity, innovation, and entrepreneurship. To that end, a diversified approach is required. And today, the ESA education program stands on two distinctive pillars. The first pillar is the STEM program, where space, as I just said, is the learning and teaching context. It is exclusively targeting the primary and secondary education levels. And it has today reached really an outstanding level of maturity, in particular, thanks to the quality and the effectiveness of the existing ESEROs in respective member states. Thanks to the development of new educational classroom resources and projects that I will show you in a minute, but also thanks really to a virtuous cycle of structured collaboration and exchange between ESA and the ESEROs, which what we called the network dimension that I will illustrate also later. The second pillar is the ESA Academy, where space science, space engineering becomes the subject. It's not the context anymore, but becomes really the subject or the environment. The program for university students is offering annually unique, academically rigorous and professionally solid learning experience to university students. And let me start with a short description and illustration of the latter. The objective of the ESA Academy is really to complement academic education in space-related disciplines in order to increase employability and stimulate innovation and entrepreneurship, as I just said, but this in response to community needs, very important. It offers cyclic and recurrent theoretical and practical training opportunities, and it is based on the transfer of knowledge and expertise, and know-how, and standard professional practices to university students at bachelor, master, and even at PhD level. This is possible, this is very important and close to my heart, that it's only possible thanks to the collaboration and the coordination with ESA experts. When I'm talking about the ESA education program, it's really ESA education program and not the education office program, because in terms of content, in terms of expertise, in terms of practices, we would not be able to implement such a program without the close support of experts across all ESA directorates. To that end, we have organized the ESA Academy in two pillars. The first pillar, as illustrated here, is the so-called training and learning program that, again, aims at sharing expertise with university students through our dedicated training sessions that are held in a dedicated facility which is located in Belgium at ESSEC, the European Space Security and Education Center. And this is, as you can see here, the so-called training and learning facility that is also equipped with a concurrent design facility. And there we offer a suite of 1 week pre-COVID, and I hope post-COVID, 1 week training sessions with physical presence of students in a wider range of space-related disciplines, being space system engineering, mission design, being spacecraft operations, telecommunications, etc., but also in space law, for example. And as I'm speaking this week, we are having an online training session on an introductory space law for engineers, done in collaboration with our colleagues from the legal department. Then we have the so-called hands-on program, that is offering students a first and unique practical experience in real space projects that, again, similarly to the TLP, is implemented thanks to the close collaboration with ESA experts. Among others, the ESA Education Office proposes Fly Rocket, which is a rocketry program for bachelor students, Orbit Your Thesis, which is a collaboration with the Directorate of Human Spaceflight and Robotic Exploration, making use of the so-called IceCube's commercial facility on board of the space station, or as illustrated here, the Fly Your Satellite program, which is the educational CubeSat program that proposes support to students which are competitively selected. We offer support for the design, for the development, for the integration, for the testing, the launch and the operations of CubeSats. In Redu, in Belgium, at ESSEC, the European Space Security and Education Center that I just mentioned with the training and learning facility, we also host, as illustrated here, the so-called CubeSat support facility, which is a mini test laboratory where students can conduct, with the support of ESA, environmental testing of their satellite. Let me now switch to the subject of today, which is primary and secondary school education. And as Dr. Manfletti introduced, is about, with the same picture, by the way, is about inspiration and fascination. The flagship of the STEM program is ESERO, the European Space Education Resource Office, that we started now in 2006 with the project definition in the early 2000. And it is really ESA's flagship project in support of formal school education. It is a recognition of the diversity of ESA member states in education. We have, of course, more than 15 different languages and many more different educational systems across our member states. It is therefore an approach to support formal education that is focusing exclusively on the needs and the national priorities, so on the curriculum. And this project is sometimes even complementary to national actions. We just heard it from the Academy of Science, and sometimes in the definition of policies. It is done in partnership with national space agencies or delegations at ESA, of course, but also with institutional stakeholders that are key, of course, like the Ministry of Education, that are key for the implementation of the project. And all of this, of course, is related to space, its attractiveness, and the richness of the different topics as we heard today. I have stolen this presentation to the former, this slide to the former Director General that showed it last week at an event on ESERO Sweden. And this is to underline really the network dimension with an increased synergy between ESA and the different ESEROs that are today 18, almost 20 this year. A synergy that is really achieved via the so-called ESERO-ESA working group that prove really to be effective for the co-design of educational resources initiatives and for the exchange of competence and best practices. So you are not operating in isolation, even if at the outset the ESERO project was really a member state per member state approach project. I was talking about space as a learning context, and this is simply to illustrate what I mean by this. Here we are illustrating a project so-called AstroPi, which is an initiative to simply program two computers which are on board of the International Space Station. Every year we run two competitions for beginners and for more advanced students that can then program based on a mission given to them by ESA, program these two computers on board the space station, receive the data, interpret the data, and then present that to an ESA jury and receive certificate of participation. So it is not here really not about space, really. Space is really the context, is the environment, that unique environment that ESA can offer to these students. But the core business here, the core topic is about coding, is about programming, not about space. Of course, without teachers, we heard it today, it's not possible. So here, related to the previous view graph with the AstroPi, I wanted to illustrate here a training that ESA offers to teachers that these coding activities with their pupils. Leading activities which are directly symbolic with direct. We do training, we develop classroom resources, but also with the collaboration of the ESERO project and ESERO network, we develop European-wide school projects like the one I just mentioned, AstroPi, or the Moon Challenge, CanSat, etc., etc. So today we launch ESERO Estonia, but ESA's education is already looking at the future with a so-called projects called Space for Education 2030. The objective is to design by 2022 a long-term education program that is considering, we heard it from Dr. Manfletti, the evolution of the space sector, the education sector, but also global and societal challenges. The program will be designed on building on the heritage, including, of course, the ESERO project, invest in innovation, and pursue collaboration. And this is to prepare for jobs that have not been created yet, for technologies that have not been invented yet, and to solve problems that have not yet been anticipated. Thank you very much for your attention, and welcome to ESERO Estonia.
Thank you, Hugo, for showing us how ESA is promoting STEM education throughout Europe. And I'm glad that we're not alone in this, and we're doing it all together throughout Europe. Next up, we have Helilat from Tartu Observatory, the head of ESERO Estonia, showing us what ESERO Estonia will actually be doing and what novel approaches it will use to promote science, technology, engineering, and maths in Estonia.
Hello, my name is Helilat, and I'm the manager of ESERO Estonia. In my presentation today, I will focus on this Estonian study report and the next steps ahead of us. I'm delighted to say that as a result of 2 years of work, the opening event of ESERO Estonia is taking place here and now. At the beginning of my presentation, I would like to thank everyone who had and still has faith in the innovation and inspiring impact of space education in school children. I had and I have faith, and together we can do great things. I consider it essential to recognize the role of Tartu Observatory in this effort. Tartu Observatory considers the popularization of science important and has conducted the negotiations for starting ESERO project in Estonia. The results with the success of this project lies in the cooperation, and I'm incredibly pleased that powerful players such as the Energy Discovery Center and the AHA Science Center are involved in this project. I now have the opportunity to publicly thank the ESA's education team for their outstanding support and encouragement through this process. I hope that our cooperation will continue in the same way. Preliminary work and research are needed for the project to be successful and sustainable, always. As part of the ESERO Estonian study report, we mapped curricula and their linking to space. The amount of and availability of space-related materials, we mapped the training offers and structure the STEM teacher trainings. The literature review examined and analyzed the various national strategies, policies, and statistics. In the last part of report, a questionnaire was prepared for teachers to find out their current situation and expectation for the future. Also, interviews with key persons in the sector we conducted to get the bigger picture of the current situation. Considering all the analysis of the result of activities described above, based on the objectives of ESERO, proposals were made on how the activities of the ESERO Estonia office could improve or supplement the current situation. Recommendation include the teacher training section of the selection of teacher training materials, classroom resources, and proposals on how to involve companies, researchers, academia in introducing STEM and inspiring young people. What we found, as the result of the mapping, we found that there are many different ways to integrate space in Estonian curriculum. For example, biology, the topic of personal health, creating links between healthy eating, human behaviors such as physical exercise. All this is very easy to relate to the profession of an astronaut, or the analysis, comparisons, or processing of the data in the mathematics curriculum. All this is directly related to remote sensing and also to the daily work of cosmologists. A good example is also the topic of programming in the computer science curricula. It has a direct link to satellite construction and communication. These were just a few examples. Another result of mapping the situation was fragmented of space-based learning materials. Some of the materials on the national web platforms like e-koolikott, some of them are in the co-founder websites as ESERO, Estonian Research Council. And of course, there are materials in Tartu Observatory Visitor Center webpage and in Tartu Old Observatory webpage. The third is abundance of training for one or two subject teachers and low participation of teachers in them. There are various reasons for this, but one of the is undoubtedly the overload of teachers. The digital literature, the development of non-cognitive skills and innovation education should be highlighted as essential keywords in the literature review. The Estonian Development Plan for 2035 aims to increase the digital skills for both teachers and students, and to provide as much learning materials as possible on different web platforms. And the COVID-19 pandemic was certainly a critical lesson. I think that Estonia had a significant advantage compared to many other countries because by that time, many textbooks have been published in the form of an e-textbook with tasks, and different platforms have been created for communication and feedback between teachers, students, and parents. Non-cognitive skills refer to perseverance, the need of achievements, and self-confidence. Although we are very good at the result of the PISA test, too few young people have high need for achievements. And instead insistability is problem that all teachers deal with daily basis. New and new approaches for teacher training are expected to consciously, which is also understandable as children or pupils are and their skills are both social and learning are always changing. What we found from the survey. It is crucial to point out from the results of the teacher survey that as many as the 3/4 of the teachers could not be created a connection between the subject they teach and space. We have to discuss about this, and that's the reason why awareness raising activities are important also to the teachers. The most important result of the interviews was the support of organizing school-based teacher trainings. As part of this, schools will compile their own Space Week project. Such topic weeks or project studies, no matter how they are called, are very popular in Estonia schools and are strongly recommended by the Ministry of Education and Research. More than half of the teachers who responded to the questionnaire state that they were ready to use new challenges and projects only if the students are interested. Therefore, when training and recruiting teachers is necessary, it is necessary to keep in mind the interest of students and to motivate them to take the initiative. The national report summarized the recommendation for the activities of ESERO Estonia. The most important ones are also highlighted in this slide. The aforementioned school-based teacher trainings and classroom resources must show the interdisciplinarity of space, involving companies in different ways, for example, as Mentor the School project, and certainly raising awareness of ESERO's activities and opportunities. What's next? Next steps we are taking, and we have already prepared our teacher training. The first of which takes place in April already during the school holiday. We are translating classroom resources related with Mission X and climate detectives challenges. Preparation for the next school year has been started. School project like CANSAT, Mooncamp, AstroPi, etc. Negotiation partnership with space industries and academia discuss how partners can support the ESERO project more. Last but not least, priority to raise awareness about ESERO. We have already website and social media accounts, and they are very popular already, and that's good. And welcome on board, Estonian teachers and students. I'm looking for see you soon at ESERO events and activities. Thanks for listening.
Thank you, Heli, for showing us what ESERO Estonia plans to do and the gaps that need to be filled. For a nice surprise, and the last thing one of the last things we will show you today is a greeting from an ESA astronaut, Christopher Fuglesang.
Hello, everyone. I'm Christer Fuglesang, a former ESA astronaut. First of all, congratulations on launching the ESERO project in Estonia. As you may know, I had the opportunity to fly twice to the International Space Station, and I consider myself very lucky. During my time in space, I mainly helped assembling and equipping the International Space Station. And I did 5 spacewalks. Also did some experiments, which was fun. However, one of the things I enjoyed to do most when there was a free time for it, it was just to look at our planet Earth and its unique beauty. I've been often asked how I became an astronaut. For me, it all started with my passion for physics and mathematics. And then later I started to study experimental particle physics and teaching mathematics at university. Also had a fascination for flying to space and space in general. Therefore, when there was an opportunity to apply to become a member of the European Astronauts Corps, I definitely took it, and I was lucky enough to get selected. I then trained for many years to achieve my dream to go to space. And during my training and during my space flight, I had the privilege of working with hundreds, thousands of professionals in a variety of fields, such as medicine, science, engineering, aviation, and more. I worked not only with Europeans, but also with colleagues from the US, from Russia, Canada, and Japan. Our roles as astronauts are very visible, but we're really only the tip of the iceberg, part of a huge group of people that makes human spaceflight and all spaceflight and exploration of the solar system possible. The study of Earth from space, meteorology, application of space, and telecommunication and navigation, and much more reality. But to achieve your goal in life, you have to work with commitment and passion. And there is no shortcuts. But learning the science and engineering today will help you in the future. Science and technology, they are really the key of understanding the civilization and society and solving so many of the most important challenges which facing humanity today. All the way from climate change to energy resources, water and food management, and so much more. Even if you do not become a scientist or engineer, you will be happy to understand the world you live in better, and you will be even more capable of making wise decisions. So I'm delighted to see that the ESERO project is now launched in Estonia. I can't wait to see more space coming to the classrooms. Space inspires. Enjoy yourself. Until then, ciao.
Awesome video. Next up, we have a video from the Estonia school children who want to greet us all. And lastly, also a song from the Tartu Observatory band of Jolly Scientists. Thank you.
Welcome to Viimsi High School, a school in northern Estonia.
We have all chosen to be here by our common interest in science. Every Tuesday, for the first 2 lessons, 24 students gather here to solve practical physics exercises and actively find answers to physics-related questions.
Our school has participated in numerous active learning programs related to astrophysics, many of which are located in Taravere. The programs have given our students the chance to experience the wider understanding of space in general.
ESERO's agency in Estonia will provide the students with the opportunity to learn about space in Estonian. The agency will also help aspiring astronauts from Estonia and all around the world.
Thank you for taking Estonian space life into consideration. We're looking forward to working with you.
On vaja mu uksed ja mu hing, mu silmad ning mu kõrvad ning mu perekonnaring. Kui tahad, tule alati, või lenda kas või läbi telekanali. Oi poisid, klikad, tore on see elu. Kõikidel on seltsimees ja semu. Kui sinu hoov on ka su sõbra õu, siis ükski soov ei käi teil üle jõu. Kui põnevaks ja rikkaks laupäev saab, kui sulle sõbra...
Nii, tere tulemast, ESERO!
Minu nimi on Angela. Olen Innovatsioonikeskuse innokas juhataja. Meie keskus on mõeldud lastele, noortele ja lastega peredele. Ja eesmärgiks on arendada ja edendada loodus täppisteaduste valdkonda. Ja meil on väga hea meel, et meil on võimalus liituda Euroopa Kosmoseagentuuri ESERO õppeprogrammiga. Meil on palju huvilisi lapsi ja noori ja samuti toredad õpetajad. Ja me olemegi nüüd alustamas kosmosevaldkonna õpet innokas ja soovime mõnusat koostööd kõigile ESERO programmi osavõtjatele.
Tere, mina olen Maarjo. Innokas hakkan juhendama kosmoseringi. Senimaani olen kosmoseringi läbi viinud mitmel pool ja olen ka tegutsenud teadlasena Tallinna Tehnikaülikoolis, Tallinna Tähetornis, aga hetkel on meil siis missiooniks nooremale koolieale siis pakkuda välja kosmosetegevusi. Seoses ESERO projektiga meil oleksid ootused saada rohkem praktilisi ülesandeid ja missioone just nooremale vanuserühmale ja lisaks oleks meil väga hea meel, kui meil õnnestuks ka teiste kosmosegruppidega läbi käia nii Eestis kui ka teistes riikides.
Minu nimi on Libel, minu nimi on Mirel ja me oleme 8-aastased kaksikud. Õpime innokas robootikat, oleme planeetidega varem kokku puutunud ja tahaksime õppida rohkem tähtedest ja planeetidest.
Minu nimi on Mark. Mulle meeldib sõbradega mängida ja ATV-ga sõita ja Lego Ninjaga mängida. Mulle meeldib õppida planeete ja tähti ja vaadata, mida tulnukad söövad ja kus nad elavad.
Tere, minu nimi on Martin. Õpin innokat robootikat. Tahan teada kosmosest, näiteks planeetidest ja asteroididest.
Minu nimi on Johan. Ma olen 5-aastane. Ma õpin robootikat. Mina tahan minna kosmosekooli, sellepärast, et ma tahan näha maakera ja kui suur see on. Ja ma tahan näha sealt Hiina, kui suur on. Ja Türgit ja Venemaad. Ma tahan saada piloodiks.
Tere, minu nimi on Ann-Mari Tang. Mina käin innokas robootikaringis ja mulle meeldib teha roboteid. Mina tahan minna kosmosekooli sellepärast, et teada, kuidas ehitada roboteid, mis käivad Kuu peal ja Marsi peal. Ja teada, kas need jõuavad Marsi peale või Kuu peale.
Hello,
We are Tartu Observatory's band, which means that all the members of this band work right here at Tartu Observatory, and they're mostly space researchers. We are very happy to be here today and celebrate this moment with you by playing a song. I'm an alligator, I'm a mama papa coming for you. I'm the space invader, I'll be a rock and rolling chick for you. Keep your mouth shut, you're squeaking like a pink monkey bird, and I'm busting up my brains for the wise. Keep your electric eye on me, babe. Put your ray gun to my head, yeah. Press your space face close to my love. Freak out in the moon age state remote, yeah. Break it, baby. Only the real thing on me. The church of men love. Yeah, it's such a holy place to be. Make me, baby. Make me know you really care. Make me jump into the air. Keep your electric eye on me, babe. Put your ring onto my head, yeah. Press your space face close to my love. Freak out in a moon age state remote, yeah. Keep your electric eye on me, babe. Put your ring onto my head. Press your space face close to my love. Freak out in the moon age state remote. Keep your electric eye on me, babe. Put your ring onto my head. Press your space face close to my love. Freak out in a moon age state remote. Congratulations, ESERO Estonia.
I hope you all enjoyed the video and the song. Now the formal part of our day is done, and thank you for all the presenters. We will continue informally in Estonian, where Helilet will introduce the ESERO Estonian website in Estonian.
Hello again, and nüüd ma räägin eesti keeles, sest et ametlik osa on läbi ja ma sooviksin tutvustada eesti keeles Eesti õpetajatele meie kodulehte. Selleks ma võtan lahti ESERO.ee veebilehe ja mis me sealt näeme? Meil on valmis saanud väga ilus veebileht, kuhu tulevad kõik tulevikus ESERO projektiga seotud materjalid. Täna me näeme siin ürituse kutset, aga allapoole kerides on valminud meil just hiljaaegu väga põnevat kosmosevaldkonda tutvustavad videod. Mina räägin seda, kuidas oma videos, kuidas kõik õppeained on omavahel seotud ja kuidas igal pool on natukene kosmost. Meie direktor Observatoriumist räägib kosmose vajalikkusest Eestile. Meil on olnud võimalus intervjueerida Elmo Templit ja Anu-Reinar Noorma annab väga hea ülevaate kaugseire tähtsusest meie elus. Allapoole kirides me näeme veel üleskutseid, mis alustavad järgmise õppeaasta alguses registreerimisega. Me kindlasti anname õpetajatele varakult teada, me tõlgime materjale, et üleskutsest või nendest võistlustest oleks osavõtt õpetajate jaoks ja ka noorema kooliastme jaoks võimalikult lihtne ja nagu oma keeles, mis on ka ESERO üks eesmärkidest pakkuda väga hea kvaliteediga õppematerjale õpilastele, õpetajatele oma emakeeles. Kui vaadata õppematerjalide all, see oli avaleht, kui me lähme õppematerjalide alla, siis praeguseks on laetud üles päris palju põhikoolile suunatud õppematerjale, mida õpetajad saavad uurida, vaadata, mida kasutada, kuidas kasutada. Ja gümnaasiumi omast on tänaseks üles jõutud panna Kepleri seadused, aga tulemas on veel erinevad merejää ja geograafia ja bioloogiaga seotud õppematerjale. Ürituste kalendris on võimalik tutvuda üritustega, mis meil on tulemas ja ka mis on ära olnud, aga siinkohal on võib-olla kõige olulisem üles kutsuda õpetajaid osalema ESA veebi töötubades, mis on inglisekeelsed küll, aga annavad õpetajatel võimaluse süvitsi saada ESA-poolseid näpunäiteid, kuidas võtta osa erinevatest siis nendest üleskutsetest, olgu selleks siis Astrobi, Mooncamp või Mission X. Kindlasti pakume me ka omapoolseid koolitusi koolidele, nagu ma oma ingliskeelses ettekandes ka ütlesin, et õpetajate toetamine on ESERO Eesti jaoks väga oluline. Õpilaste motiveerimine läbi erinevate põnevate õppematerjalide on väga oluline meie jaoks. Ja üks asi, mida ESERO Estonia või Eesti ESERO üritab tekitada, on Eesti kosmoseettevõtete toetus haridustegevusele läbi ESERO projekti. Ehk me püüame kaasata võimalikult palju ettevõtteid, et nad motiveeriksid, inspireeriksid meie noori. Üheks etteruttavalt võin öelda, et üheks selliseks ürituseks on meil augusti lõpus planeeritud põhikooli lõpu ja gümnaasiumiõpilastele suunatud karjääripäev karjääriredel viib kosmosesse, kus siis tulevadki Eesti kosmoseettevõtted viima läbi oma töötubasid, näitama demosid. Otsene kontakt on õpilastel ettevõtetega ja loomulikult võtavad osa sellest ka Tartu Observatooriumi teadlased oma valdkonda tutvustamisega. Et selline üritus on meil tulemas, aga siin on ka alati välja toodud tulevad üritused. Üleskutsetest me rääkisime, me valmistame, on tõlgitud, nüüd on kujundada vaja lõplikult kõikidele üleskutsetele sissejuhatavad materjalid õpetajatele, mida üks üleskutse endast tähendab, kuidas seda klassiga läbi viia, millised on need ajalised mõõtmed projekti elluviimisel ja kõik selline. Ja loomulikult on kõikide üleskutsetega seotud ka konkreetsed õppematerjalid, mida õpetajad saavad nagu läbi viia. Inimesed, meil on väga lahe seltskond. Meil on oluline öelda, et meil on väga entusiastlik meeskond. ma olen äärmiselt rõõmus selliste kolleegide üle, kes tõesti koos minuga on valmis kavandama järgmist kuumissiooni õpilaste jaoks või ehitama väiksesse plekkpurki satelliiti. Meil on partneritena praegu on kaasatud Energiavastuskeskus ja Teaduskeskus AHA. Nendega koostöö hakkab muutuma nähtavasti aina tihedamaks tulevikus. Ja loomulikult on link ka meie Observatooriumi külastuskeskusesse, millega ESERO Estonia teeb tugevat koostööd. Selleks, et ei peaks, alati võib, aga et ei peaks alati käima kodulehel vaatamas, mis on uut või kuidas meil läheb, siis ESERO Estonial on oma veebileht. Ja siin on, nüüd olen ma küll sellises vaates, mis on selle lehe haldajal, aga siia me postitame alati uusi ideid, uusi võimalusi, kui on jälle mingi õppematerjal välja tulnud, on võimalik siinkohas meie tegemistega kursis olla. Nii et likeige, share'ige, jagage selleks, et see informatsioon meie üritusest ja meie ESERO projektist jõuaks võimalikult kaugele. Meid on võimalik üles leida ka Instagramist, kus on siis Eesti ESERO nimeline ja ka seal me oleme järjepidevalt täiendamas oma materjale, teeme kviise, pakume harivat sisu Instagrami. Mul on ääretult hea meel tänase ürituse üle. Mul on hea meel, et sellega seoses on olnud üpris vähe tehnilisi apsakaid. Mul on suur rõõm ESERO juhina seda projekti eest vedada ja ma siiralt ootan koostööd õpetajate ja õpilastega Eestis, et loodus- ja täppisteadusi rohkem õpilastele huvitavamaks muuta ja selle võrra ka nendesse valdkondadesse sisseastumine ülikoolis muutuks populaarsemaks. Ma lõpetan siinkohal ja ütlen, et tere tulemast pardale Eesti õpetajad ja õpilased ja kohtume juba mõnel järgmisel ESERO üritusel. Aitäh teile!
Thank you, Heli, for giving us a short overview of the Estonian ESERO website. Thank you all the other speakers for giving your presentations today. So we heard about how STEM education is important in Europe, and how novel projects are popularizing it around for youth. Now this is the end of the show, and thank you all for joining us, and have a good day.